Hey, Eastern Oregon, welcome to this April the 27th edition of AM on EOAlive this morning with Doddsy and I. How you doing, man?
What's up? I remembered to unmute my mic this morning. I'm tired today.
I know. I'm kind of dragging too.
Oh, man. I don't know what. They put something in the water. This is the first day I've been tired in a while.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's that late night gaming, dude.
No, I went to bed about 11 o'clock last night.
Wow. Yeah.
On school days for my son, I don't get to stay up late playing video games with him.
Because he's
I only play with him. I mean, really.
Yeah. Well,
so, my daughter sometimes, but she gets frustrated too easy. So usually we just put the headset on and go in Minecraft and build stuff instead of playing games.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good morning, Dana. How are you doing?
Hey, and so if parents, if anybody out there is a parent and their kids live in different places, I'm telling you, instead of FaceTiming, get an Xbox and get a headset, because the kids engage a lot better when they're actually doing something. My kids, they open up when I'm talking to them on the Xbox.
Cody Bowen says, "Old age, man."
Not as old as you.
Yeah. Is he a little older than you?
Yeah, his younger brother's my age.
Oh.
Speaking of Cody Bowen, Thursday, day after tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Keeping It Clear with Cody Bowen. Me and Cody, we go live 6:30 and we take the community's questions for an hour.
Right here with
give or take a little. I mean,
yep, right here with the sheriff.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, he is the sheriff, but when I'm talking to him, I'm talking to a friend more than a sheriff.
Well,
in my eyes.
I think that is the essence of Cody Bowen, right?
But I'm glad he's got my back.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Well,
it's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Well, hey, look at that. Look at that day.
Here, finally. It's a little cold outside though today.
It is. It's jacket weather. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, look at how clear it is. Come on, camera. Switch to Mount Emily. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. And you came in with full camo.
Just
you got your camo jacket. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going hunting.
you even said it right. Hunting. I'm going hunting.
I'm not going hunting. This is champion. This ain't hunting gear.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Champion and camo gear.
Champion used to be a Walmart brand when I was a kid. Now it's it's weird. It's weird how things work.
Yeah. What are they now? Are they above Walmart? Are they a little better brand?
Yeah.
Walmart brand?
Yeah. Yes. It's weird because back in the days, Shaq, for instance, he had Reebok shoes, right? Which were really expensive. Well, he decided that he wasn't going to put his shoes through through Reebok anymore because he wanted his shoes to be affordable. So he switched to Walmart. Now you can buy Shaqs at Walmart, but they're not very good quality. So, I mean, I don't understand that whole process, but I do know that Champion used to be like socks, cheap Walmart brand. And now Champion is a lot of people wear it, and it's not. You can't get it at Walmart anymore.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. I found it on sale online for $25. So
I'm wearing Walmart socks right now, man.
Me too.
Yeah,
and underwear. That's the only place to go to get.
They
socks
have no logo on them. You
can't see it. You can't see your socks. Yeah, I got Walmart shorts on. I wore basketball shorts today. I broke the rules. There's no employee handbook though, so you can't hold me accountable.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and you're one of the bosses, so it's you got to really mess up for me to be in my office. Yeah,
I call it going to the principal's office when I'm talking to the guys. Don't have to go to the principal's office today. Stay out of there. You get one hall pass. That's it.
Oh. Well, hey, let's look at Gabe's forecast here.
Yeah, let's do 64 is going to be the high. Let's see. Lows in the mid 30s, so we're not going to get all the way down to freezing. A little bit of humidity, but it looks like we're going to stay dry today at least. So there could be some good golf out at Buffalo Peak, Dana.
Good deal.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow,
almost a blueprint of yesterday, a little bit warmer. I mean, the lows in the mid 40s. Wow.
Yeah.
Two nice days for Buffalo Peak. Dana, I seen you release that. You're already talking about the trip to Bandon next year. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, it's beautiful out there, man. Wow.
Hey, Linda, thank you for joining us from Idaho.
Yeah.
Yep.
What part of Idaho?
Yeah.
Somebody was trying to tell me yesterday, I think Blair and Baker, my friend, she's trying to tell me that they're going to like vote on certain counties, like leaving Oregon. Is that true?
Yeah.
I don't pay any attention to that.
Well, yeah, I don't. I mean, I think that people can vote on it. I think it's a whole lot. It's a whole lot more complicated than just saying, yeah, we're going to. But I mean, no, there's been talk about that forever. So then like.
I've heard of it before. Yeah.
Essentially,
like cutting off Eastern Oregon. Basically.
Yeah. Essentially all of Eastern Oregon, like going over to Idaho. So.
Well, hey, while I may not agree with everything that our state does, well, I don't agree with a lot of the things our state do. I'm proud to be an Oregonian.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate it when people call me a Californian because I moved here from California. I consider myself an Oregonian. I've been here since I was 12 years old. I'm 41. And I'm proud to be an Oregonian. I wouldn't want to live in anywhere else. I'm
well,
happy
and I think there's a lot of people that feel that way. You know, it's like, I might not be happy with, the root of it is that the population is based on the West Side. And so then if you make decisions based on population, we're kind of left out of the conversation, you know? So, but yeah.
That is true. I mean, that is true, but that's the case in a lot of states.
That will always, right. Yep. That will always be the case. So, right. So in Washington,
Seattle.
Right. That Seattle West Side is going to make, their decision. You got Spokane. They're unhappy because they're left out of the conversation a lot, even though they're a fairly major.
Tri-Cities too. Tri-Cities.
Yeah. Yep. Right. But you take trust me, there's some people over in Idaho Falls that are not happy that everything happens in Boise, so that's just kind of that's the nature of life.
I'm okay with staying in Oregon. I mean,
if
I wanted to go somewhere else, I'd move. I mean,
what's funny is most people have no idea. When you say you're from Oregon, they go, "Oh, boy, the riots must be terrible there."
Yeah.
So they just have no understanding.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing on the west side of the state when you say, people say, I'm headed to Eastern Oregon for the weekend. Like, oh yeah, where are you going? Bend? Like, Bend is not Eastern. It's not even if you look on a map, it's not Eastern Oregon.
Yeah.
It's right in the middle. And so anything on that side of, anything from Bend over is considered Eastern Oregon over there. But us Eastern Oregonians, we know where Bend is definitely not a part of Eastern Oregon. Bend's yuppie Reedaville. Oh, man. I can't even hardly go there anymore.
Yuppie Reedaville?
Yeah, a bunch of yuppies. Want to talk about Californians taking over? Go to Bend.
What do you think? Do you think that's much different than like Portland?
Yes. It's a different.
How is it different?
Well, okay, well, for one thing, Bend has a little bit stricter rules around homeless in public, like downtown and everything. But I don't see and I'm not an expert on it, but I don't see near as many Bend is all hipsters, pretty much. Like,
there you go. Okay.
Dude, I got this cool new mountain bike and a beard and a craft beer, and I'm going to go out riding my mountain bike, and then we're going to go to McMinimans and throw a couple back and go to the Timbers game. That's Bend, the whole of Bend, in my eyes. I mean, I know that's probably kind of, but whatever. Portland, there's just some people like that.
Yeah. Portland's
But
kind of
Portland sucks too. Keep Portland over there.
yeah.
I think it's a beautiful city. I just don't like going there. I love the food. I like Bunk Sandwich, Pine Street biscuits, like that whole industrial area. There's some really cool like tap rooms. It is really cool town. I just don't like dealing with all the people. I love going to concerts, but you wait in line outside for concerts, right? Because there's a lot of people. Like at the Roseland, you stand outside and you wrap all the way down around. And just the people that are on the streets, I mean, the stuff you see when you're waiting for an hour for a concert to get in, it's too much. I took my son on his 12th birthday to a concert at the Roseland, and I wanted to cover his eyes. I'm not lying. And we were going to a hip-hop concert where people were probably going to be smoking weed, and you might see a couple boobs, but at the same time, the stuff out on the street was worse.
Wow. How long ago was that?
I made him wait until his 12th birthday to go to a concert.
But I mean, how long ago? Like
3 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's 15. So
yeah, and it's even. I mean, it's even changed more radically since then. So
yeah, it's just it's too much for me.
Yeah,
I'm an old soul, man. I just need nice, slow towns. Like when I went down to California for college, I had lived here for 4 years. 6 years. I moved here before my 7th grade year. So I'd lived in La Grande for 6 years, and I went back to go to college. And I lasted, but it was too fast for me, man. Ooh.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, man, let's get Jamie on and
let's
talk.
Do it.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing, Jamie?
Good morning. I'm doing well. How about you?
Good. And Jamie, you are the executive director for Shelter from the Storm here in the La Grande area, and we're glad that you're here with us today. So educate us. Tell us what Shelter from the Storm is. Let's start there. Can you tell us what it is and what is its purpose?
Okay, so yeah, Shelter from the Storm is a domestic violence and sexual assault shelter. Basically, we're here to assist anyone that is experiencing any kind of violence in their life. If they've experienced some domestic violence, dating violence, stalking, sexual assault, we provide services for all of those things. Our services, we have quite a few services, and we work with a lot of community partners to ensure kind of a seamless service, hopefully, and give some guidance for anyone who comes to us to get some help.
So, and how is it involved in the county? How is the county, is this a county sponsored thing? How is it financed? I mean, talk about the structure of that structure a little bit.
Yeah, so we get our own funding through grants and through the community generosity. Basically, I think the way Shelter from the Storm started, so we've been here for over 40 years. And originally it started as a grassroots movement that people who were themselves survivors of violence of some kind wanted to help other people who were trying to flee or escape domestic violence. And they were all volunteers. There was no real funding other than just community generosity. They were sheltering people in their own homes. They were transporting people in their own cars. I had spoke to one of the original executive directors back in the day, and she had driven clear to John Day once to help somebody out and get them out of a bad situation. So it's always been really grassroots and community driven. So most of our work is still that way. We have a huge amount of community support. People who have been volunteers, who have been employees, who have been part of our board, constantly supporting us, constantly reaching out to see how they can help us. And then on top of that, there are certain federal and state grants that we apply for that support our basic function, keep the lights on and make sure that we have advocates here that can, be trained and be ready to help somebody through a crisis.
So how did you get involved in it? Tell us a little bit about your story, how you got involved and I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, it was kind of a weird path. So I don't even know where to start. So I didn't grow up in Oregon. I was listening to earlier, and I grew up in Washington, but I got a chance to move to La Grande roughly about 20 years ago, and fell in love with the area. And I originally worked in a completely different sector. I kind of worked in finance and management, and I had about 6 or 7 years ago, a personal family tragedy that led me down the path to get into social work. I really had, my heart led me to wanting to work with people who were experiencing tragedy, experiencing maybe victims of violence, and just needing that kind of help. And so I went to school at EOU. I got a social welfare degree, amazing people there. And it's funny, a lot of my community partners that I work with now were, you know, at school with me doing the same thing. They had kind of the same background story. I was working at DHS for a while, and the opportunity came to Shelter from the Storm. And because I have this background in finance, as well as the degree in social work, it was kind of the perfect fit. And it was a way for me to directly work with people who needed help without a lot of red tape. We make the determinations here. You know, if we have the funds, we get to decide, yeah, we're going to help this person. They don't have to meet any special criteria other than, are they a victim of sexual assault, domestic violence, stalking? We just automatically help everybody who walks through that door. And it's a really, really good feeling.
So how do you help them? I mean, give us an idea of the programs, you know, someone's situation and how they might enter into your organization, and then what you do to kind of help them through whatever issue they might have. Talk to us about the different programs that you have to offer.
Yeah, so we have all kinds of things that we can help a survivor with. So if we have, and even somebody who's not a survivor, we actually have a food bank, and we are a part of the Oregon food bank system. So we have a pantry here. So if someone walks in the door and, you know, they're not really sure what we offer, but they're looking for some kind of assistance, we do referrals. So we keep a fairly hefty binder full of referral documentation. So if they're looking for housing, we can help with that. So if they're a survivor, domestic violence, sexual assault, stalking, we have funding to help somebody get housing. We have kind of a relationship with our local housing authority to assist someone who's experiencing those things get into housing quicker because their situation is a little more dangerous. We have the ability to get somebody legal advice, legal help. We have an attorney that we keep that works with us. I guess we don't keep them, but they work with us, and we can pay for that if they need some kind of legal assistance. We have advocates. All of our advocates are privileged and confidential. So if someone comes into us and they're nervous about talking about it, anything that they talk to with the advocates, it stays with that advocate. It stays in that room. Everything's confidential. We can never disclose unless they allow us to disclose. So that's really kind of neat. But we do, like I said, the food pantry, the housing, we have emergency shelter. So if anybody in the middle of the night, we have a 24-hour crisis line. So if someone in the middle of the night is experiencing something dangerous, they can call, they will talk to a person, and that person will assist them get safe right in that minute. We have funds that pay for all of that. We have support groups. So if somebody, you know, we've gotten them safe and now they want to deal with the trauma that they've been through, we have a group that meets and gets together and talks about those things. And we have a counselor as well that we work with, a licensed certified counselor. So they can talk to somebody who has knowledge and experience and training, so they're safe. We also do just peer support, advocacy, court assistance. We help with restraining orders. We just, I think the whole, you know, gambit of things that we could do, we do. If someone somehow got stuck in La Grande, maybe they were in a domestic violence situation, they came from out of town and they just want to get home, we can pay for airline tickets, bus tickets, something to just get them back to safety, back to their family. And we also have, through the generosity of the community, we have this giant shed that is full of housing, items. So if somebody's transitioning out of our emergency shelter into a new safe housing just for themselves and their children, we have beds and items like that. We have clothing. We can help somebody get appropriately dressed for a job interview. We have a lot of resources.
Wow. Very cool.
Yeah.
So for communities that do not have an organization like Shelter from the Storm, where do people go that need this kind of help?
I think a lot of people, and I think a lot of people might go to their local government office or their local public health, like we have CHD and DHS. I know in all the surrounding counties that there is an organization just like ours. I think most counties have one. You get over onto the more populated west side, and some counties have more than one that are more specialized. Like I know that there are specialized DVSA, domestic violence, sexual assault shelters for people of the Latinx community. And I know that, like say in Malawi, they have a specialized program for people who are part of the LGBTQ community. And we're trying to start up something here as well, get some funding to do that kind of work as well. But what we also have, and I know a lot of shelters also do, is we have co-located advocates. So advocates who will be positioned within DHS or CHD who are trained specially to work with somebody who's experienced violence, but can be that liaison between maybe that DHS worker or their CHD person. So a lot of times if a person doesn't know we even exist, they could be going into DHS to get some other kind of assistance. And then if they disclose domestic violence, that person there has been trained. We do training within those buildings to come and seek out the advocate and say, gosh, I have someone here who's told me this story. Can you help us? And then we go and do it. So I know a lot of DVSA organizations are doing the exact same thing all over the state.
Very cool. Now, you recently have had like some fundraising opportunities, or talk to us about some of the events that you've had recently.
Yeah, so because of the coronavirus, we currently had our soup supper. We're actually still having our soup supper. So our soup supper is an annual fundraiser. It typically happens the very last weekend of February or the first weekend of March. It's been happening for 30 years. And what we do is we have local potters, I guess, bowl makers, and glass makers. Kevin Bolin also donated because he's a glass man. Anyways, they donate bowls to our soup supper, and then we also have local restaurants also donate soup. So we usually have a big dinner at the Presbyterian Friendship Center every year, and a lot of community members come together, and we'll have the bowls where people come and they choose their own one-of-a-kind handmade bowl, and then they'll get special handmade soup that night. And then we have community, and we have visiting, and maybe we'll have a silent auction, and it's a really fun time. Last year we had a lady there playing piano all night. It was really, really nice. But because of the coronavirus, we weren't really sure how to continue that tradition. So we brainstormed and came up with an idea. Basically, the bowl makers still made bowls, which was amazing. And we still were able to get local soup makers to donate soup. And so all throughout the month of April, we're doing our soup supper. You basically just go on Eventbrite, purchase a couple tickets or a ticket, whatever you want for a bowl. You come to our office and we have all the bowls on display. You can pick out a bowl, and then we give vouchers for local businesses to go and get your soup. And so you can still go with your, loved one or your family member, have a nice evening with soup, but it just wouldn't be in the normal venue that we have. And it's been pretty good. And we're going to finish it out on April 30th will be the last day that we're having our month-long soup supper. It's been a different and interesting way to do it.
Cool. And then is it this week that's Denim week, or next week? And talk to a little bit about that.
Yeah, sorry. Forgot about that. I get excited about soup supper. It's very fun. This month, the month of April, is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And we always do we try to do a pretty big campaign, raising awareness. We put teal flags downtown. I don't know if everybody's seen them on Adams Avenue. And we, together this month, we were able to partner up with the LeGrand Police Department. An officer came and helped us put up our flags this year, or not flags, our ribbons. And the ribbons sometimes they have little statistics pinned to the bottom of them, which is kind of neat, or just education and awareness. And so all throughout the month of April, we do little things to like raise awareness about sexual assault and the fact that it is still, it's still something that happens and something that needs to be, aware of. So on the 28th, this Wednesday, tomorrow, I guess, is Denim Day. And Denim Day is a day that we all wear denim so that we can raise awareness. And the whole reason behind denim is because back in the 90s, there was a pretty, I don't know if it's famous in all circles, but there was a pretty famous case in our circles in Italy where a young girl was raped by an older person, and they overturned the case. They said that the perpetrator was innocent because her jeans were so tight that she had to be complicit in the act, because he couldn't have gotten the jeans off her unless she also wanted to have consensual sex. And so there's this whole push internationally for people to wear jeans, to say, just because I'm wearing tight jeans doesn't mean that I'm, asking to be raped. And so it's a way to say, maybe you work in an office that normally you would wear slacks, you wear jeans, and someone's like, why are you wearing jeans? And then you can have a moment of like, this happened in Italy in the 90s, and it's an international problem. It just doesn't happen in America. It happens all over the world. So it's kind of a neat way to raise awareness, I think.
Good. Well, so then that kind of, I'm going to kind of dive into it here a little bit because, I'm totally sympathetic for what you, for Shelter from the Storm and what you guys do. But the landscape for men is pretty confusing sometimes. Mm-hmm. And because they're no woman ever asked to be assaulted, right. But certainly women put out different messages, and some of them, frankly, some of them want the sexual attention of men, and other women just want to look nice and they just want to be able to be comfortable with that. And yes. For men generally, that landscape can be pretty confusing sometimes, and frankly frightening. Because I don't know. Do you have any insight on that? Do you see that? And I guess the other question I'm having has to do with stalking, because right. They're, from a traditional standpoint, if a guy really wanted to get the attention of a girl, he would pursue her. He would find ways of interacting with her. And frankly, there's a lot of marriages that came about through those kind of incidences. And yeah. And so then how do we navigate as men what is stalking, what is inappropriate, and what leads to a potential long-term relationship? It's a confusing world sometimes.
Right. I think it all comes right down to consent. Understanding what consent is, and that's something that we're working on right now too, is getting some funding to do. A lot of our grants don't allow us to do prevention type work. They don't allow us to do work in like healthy relationships or consent work, which is really the heart of all of this. Because it can be a confusing landscape. And I think when it boils all down to it is just knowing that the person that you're with is enjoying you as well. Like you have a consensual, like, I am very happy to be here with you. You are happy to be here with me. We're having a fun time. It's, all the signals are bright green. Like there's no confusion. And that's what, speaking to that, you're like, it can be a very confusing landscape. And I agree. Sometimes when you get things, alcohol involved or drugs or whatever, things can get very confusing. There's a really great YouTube video. I know I watched it when I was in college. I'll see if I can't find a link for it, but it's about, they take the idea of consent with serving somebody a cup of tea. So how would you serve somebody a cup of tea? You have to have their permission to actually give them tea. And it's very lighthearted. It's very easy to look at. And it's all about, you bring someone to your home and you ask them, would you like a cup of tea? And they say, no, I don't want a cup of tea. Okay, that's pretty obvious. So you wouldn't just force them to drink the tea. You wouldn't pour the tea down their throat. You'd just like, okay, they don't want tea. And it goes through all the scenarios, all the confusing scenarios like you're talking about. It's a very lighthearted way to address the topic, but we talk about it a lot. I mean, I think that's the most important thing that people can understand is when it comes to the act of being intimate with somebody, that you have that green light, like that person isn't passed out, that person isn't slurring their words, they're happy and they're ready and you're ready and everybody's good to go. There's no ambiguity. And I think that's what people just need to hear and know. Like, I think that there's another one out there that talks directly about sex and how it's a wonderful experience and it's fun and people love it, but make sure everybody's on the same page. And that's a big thing. Now, the thing with stalking, I think there is, like I said, when my husband was courting me, I mean, he would show up at my work and be like, you want to go to lunch? And I'd be like, whoa, where did you come from? But it was in a
those are the kind of people I run from.
Right. It was in a playful, acceptable manner. I mean, the fact that he had to drive an hour to get there, it was like, whoa. But at the same time, it was acceptable and I was flattered. And so it was, again, that consensual thing. If you're causing somebody concern, so when stalking comes in, there has to be a real pervasive fear. So like somebody is doing something to cause fear. Our stalking, the scenarios we've had where someone was stalking is a very serious crime, and it often ends up in really serious consequences. We do a lot of training on stalking because it's one of the most dangerous situations that we come across, because typically people who are stalking, they have some kind of ulterior agenda that isn't, I just love this person, or I just think this person's wonderful. There's an unhealthy relationship there. And so typically what's happened is people who are being stalked they're being forced to leave their homes. They're being forced to leave their communities because they're just not safe. And I know, like, when we help somebody with a stalking restraining order, there's specific restraining orders for those, and they're very serious, and they carry a pretty serious outcome for the person who gets that restraining order, the respondent. But basically, they have to have caused some serious fear for that person's life and safety for those to be awarded. It's not, a judge would not award those lightly. So that's, it's really good information to know. I think just that playful, like, I'm sending her flowers, I'm sending her chocolate, and she's like, oh, stop. I mean, that's totally fine, because you can feel that, right. She likes it, but there is a point, I think, if someone is like, stop. Yeah. And I think that's a big cultural thing too, is like in my home, I have a daughter. And so when we're playing and my husband is tickling her and she's laughing, but she's like, stop. The rule in our house says stop. We don't want to teach our children that no means yes and stop means go. Stop should mean stop and no should mean no. And so I think that's a real cultural shift we need to make, because we do that playful, oh, stop. Mm-hmm. That's how we've been enculturated. But I think that's the shift we need to make. And, as a woman or a man, because we do serve men here in all cases, sexual assault, stalking, and domestic violence. It happens to everyone. That those people did say stop. They did mean it, and they did. They'll call the police, and they won't stop. And so that's kind of where that all comes in.
So I have a quick question for you, Brent. So just to clear up like some of the muddy water and the stigma around like men reporting, what percentage of your clients are males? And then the second part of that question would be, like, if a male does report, is it taken with the same seriousness as a female? Because a lot of males, if in circles sitting around talking, will say like, hey, like guys never, like they don't help guys.
Right. And I've heard that a lot. I used to do a lot of tabling events before COVID. And I've had people come up to me like, oh, shelter from storm, that's not for me, you know, a man. And I'm like, no, we serve men, and we serve men who are homeless, and we serve men that are, you know, experiencing hunger or a domestic violence, sexual assault, and stalking. I think the predominant, we serve more men for stalking, and I think that's just, again, a social stigma. We do have males that come in for sexual assault and domestic violence, and we do treat it seriously. And we do have times when we're not sure what's going on, but our first rule here is to believe survivors. Anyone who comes in, whatever they tell us, we believe them. We don't question it. We don't double think it. We don't go, well, I mean, she said that and he said that. We just have to find out, like, who is the primary aggressor, who is the one causing the violence, and we try to protect the person who is, you know, on the receiving end of that, whoever the victim is. So sometimes that is a man, and we do try to do our best. We have a lot of training in it, and we're trying to do some more outreach events. We had, I think it was February that we did Male Awareness Survivor Month, where we posted information. Usually it's, I think 1 in 10 males are survivors of domestic violence or sexual assault. We probably see, I'd say about 2 or 3% of the people we serve here are male. It's not as big as numbers I'd like to see, because I know it's happening more often. But in the last quarter, we've actually served quite a few more males than we have in the past. I was just doing my reporting here recently, and that number is a little bit up. And so I'm hoping that our specific, like, male awareness campaigns are working, and we're hoping to do some more in the future. I've got this brainstorm in my mind that I might wrangle in the chief of police and the sheriff, Cody. So to see if we can get some, like, great, strong male role models in the community to kind of speak out about, you know, the stigma against it, and, you know, come in and see us. Or we just love to chat with people too. We're a big friendly group. So if anybody wants to come in here and visit and learn more, you know, we're always doing trainings and talking. So.
Yeah, it's always going to be a roadblock for you with males, because there's that societal stigma that males shouldn't turn in females for, you know, domestic violence or sexual assault.
Right. But it happens, and we've seen it. And the nice thing about what we do is, because we're so confidential, if you experience a sexual assault as a male, and you don't want anybody to know about it, but you want to make sure you're okay, you want to be seen by a nurse, we do that all in-house. So we do our sexual assault exams here in the office. We don't, you know, you don't have to, if we don't want to report to the police, we don't report to the police. We give you whatever services you need, confidentiality, all that stuff. And it just is between you and your advocate, which is really, really nice. And it takes away some of that stigma. You can still get your help. You can still see a counselor, whatever you need, we'll be there for you.
Nice.
So I have a question. I mean, let's go back to raising kids a little bit in this environment, because I think this is something that I've encountered, you know, kids, toddlers, they have a very strong sense of when they have power. And, you know, I'll never forget that when my son was as a toddler, he discovered that my former wife was afraid of snakes. Well, I mean, he was very, so then he would have a rubber snake, and he would, you know, he had a very keen sense. There's a lot that he didn't know, but he knew that, hey, he could control and motivate mom with that way. And I've seen that happen with little kids who you're trying to have them have a healthy respect for them being able to say no, but they will inappropriately say no, stop touching me. As like, no, you're going to go to bed and I'm going to move you to the bed, you know? And so how do you balance that? How do you help a kid understand that, yes, no means no, but you don't tell your mom and dad no when it's time to go to bed? I mean, how does that work? I mean, How do you navigate that?
Tough.
Yeah. I think it's a balancing act. I know in my family, it's been a balancing act. My daughter is definitely, when she was 2 and 3, we nicknamed her Pee Wee Bonaparte, because we said she was a tiny dictator. Like, you know, she just took over and she did what she wanted. And we've given her boundaries and choices. So, you know, here's your choices 1 and 2, but outside of that, no, and so they kind of come up with that. And yeah, all kids are so different and all parenting styles are so different. I always tell my daughter, she'll tell me about other families and I'm like, that's their family. I'm not going to make a judgment on what their parenting style is because I don't know what's happening. But in our house, this is what happens. And I think you have to just, as long as I heard, I'm listening to a podcast now by Brene Brown, who's amazing. And as long as you're an engaged parent, you're going to make mistakes. No parent is perfect and no raising of children is perfect. But as long as you're engaged and you're trying and you're there and you're checked in and, maybe there's times like you're not putting me to bed and they're trying to be that little dictator or whatever. And you're like, no, it's healthy for you to go to bed at 8 o'clock or whatever their bedtime is. You need extra sleep. And you're like, and I'm done explaining, I've been there. My daughter is particularly difficult sometimes, but she's also a very informed and engaged gal. She's 15 now and amazing. And, she's very, she cares about the community and she cares about our family. And so I think I've done something okay. We don't know. She's still 15, so we'll see. But, you just do the best you can.
Yeah. And because it's challenging because if kids if they don't learn to understand the authority of the parent, they're not going to understand the authority of Cody Bowen.
Right.
And so that, that's a tough balance. Yeah. Can you imagine a criminal saying, yeah, no, you can't cuff me because I don't want you to touch me. You can't, it's like, yeah, I'm sorry, dude, so it's just, anyhow.
I think that there's an inherent, you have to teach your kids respect so that they can have respect for the people who are in power for our safety or for our political needs. There's always got to be someone who kind of makes those decisions and rules for all of us so that society continues in a healthy manner. And I think just teaching kids that that's important to have respect for those roles, and then at the same time, having respect for their own bodies and autonomies to say no. And I think that comes in a little bit later, although we did have some really serious discussions a lot earlier than I thought we would have to, so that's something else as well.
Well, and just, people are, they're afraid to talk about these things. Even as I'm bringing this stuff up, there's a little bit of angst because it's like, I could get pushback, he's a Neanderthal. Can he not get this? Didn't he not learn? There's just it is really easy to be sniped. And so then people don't even want to talk about it. It's like,
especially on this subject.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely. Yep.
It's a difficult subject. And I think approaching it with compassion and a desire to listen honestly, having your ears open, listening, not to speak, but to hear, and having a conversation, a calm conversation about, what all this means. It's weird how much I've learned just through becoming a social worker and then migrating into Shelter from the Storm about, there's things that I didn't know that I wasn't aware of. And it's really opened my eyes and my heart. And I think I've become a better listener because of it. And I think I've become a better parent because of it. So I think that's it, just approaching all these conversations with compassion, because it's a hard place. It's a hard conversation, but it's a conversation that should be had for sure.
Yep. All righty. Well, anything coming up, Jamie, that we need to be aware of?
Well, we have Denim Day on Wednesday, so wear your denim.
Okay.
That would be awesome.
You gotta wear the full Canadian tuxedo or just jeans?
That'd be amazing. Because that would bring some awareness. People would be like, what's up with
everybody just rocks the Canadian tuxedo on Wednesday. You'll be looking good. BC, I know you have a Canadian tuxedo.
I don't even know what a Canadian tuxedo is.
All denim. Denim pants, denim jacket.
All right.
You never heard it called that? Canadian tuxedo?
No. Why is it called a Canadian tuxedo?
I don't know.
Because they're all lumberjacks, right?
Yeah, I have no idea. I just know that all denim is called a Canadian tuxedo.
There you go.
Next month, we are doing mental health awareness, and we're doing some stuff with CHD, which I'm kind of excited about. So that's something to look forward to. And then I have potential new fundraiser in the works with my board, which we're not talking about yet, too, coming up possibly in June. And then we'd like to revive our, we have the Three Rivers race that we've done for years too. I'm not sure how many years, at least 10. And that's a bicycle ride and foot race. So I know local people have done our bicycle ride before, and upwards at times, I think they've had the race upwards of 100 miles. I've had some requests to do some gravel race on bicycles, which I'm like, that's a thing. Okay. You know, so we're trying to revive that and make that better. We weren't able to do it last year with COVID at all. It didn't work out, but yeah, we're trying to revive those fundraisers because honestly, we're in a bit of a bind because our roof is really bad. And I don't know if everyone's aware, I'm aware, the price of lumber has skyrocketed. And so the cost of repairing our roof has skyrocketed.
Oh man,
it's bad.
It's awful right now.
Yeah, so we're going to do a fundraiser, a push to repair our roof. We're going to get some grant funds, but no grants fully pay for anything like that. So that's going to be our next big thing, is help us fix our roof. But yeah, that's kind of what we have coming along in the next couple months.
All righty. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
appreciate
you coming on. And again, those folks that might, if you're not familiar, Shelter from the Storm is out towards Island City on Island City Avenue, just past Walmart on the right-hand side if you're driving towards Island City. And if you're interested, you can find their information, and please be sure and donate to their cause. Yep. Thank you very much,
Jamie.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was wonderful.
Good. Thank you. All righty, man.
Before I get to my list, I got something funny to tell people.
Okay.
I got a message from one of our coworkers last night, and I don't care. I'm not going to say any names, but a certain a certain ad agency in town was looking for a place to shoot like a certain type of picture or video, and somebody commented on there, Brent Clapp Productions has got a green screen, go down there. I was cracking up because the person that sent it to me said, we still got it.
That's funny.
Oh, no names necessary. In 1904, on this date, the Australian Labor Party under Prime Minister Chris Watson established the first labor government in the world. In 1967, on this date, at the height of the Vietnam War, Muhammad Ali refused induction into the U.S. Army, citing religious reasons. He got convicted, but it was overturned by the U.S. Supreme Court. In 1981, Xerox debuted the first personal computer mouse.
Wow,
1981. Yep.
Wow.
In I don't remember what year, but Apple launched the iTunes Store on this date in 2001, I think. Which for some reason the date's gone. That's the place where you could buy and download music. I think that all started with like LimeWire and Napster. But anytime you downloaded music illegally from one of those sites, your computer just turned into a virus haven. In 1991, the number one song was still Your Girl, Amy Grant, Baby Baby. And my
baby.
Yeah, see? BC sings that one in the shower. And then positive quote for the day comes from Andre Agassi. You know who that is, right, BC? The tennis player, Andre Agassi?
Yeah.
What makes something special is not just what you have to gain, but what you feel there is to lose. So Andre Agassi said, what makes something special is not just what you have to gain, but also what you feel there is to lose. That's it for Tuesday. Is it Tuesday? Yeah, it is Tuesday. Yeah. We got, let me just tell everybody what's going on this week real fast. Tomorrow we have Future Stewards Day. We're doing a live stream that starts at what time, BC?
Well, but it's not public.
Oh, it's not public. Never mind. Yeah. So Thursday, let's see. Oh, my show tomorrow, Wednesday. Sports show, 5:30. I'm gonna have the EOU goalkeeper on my show from Nationals in Foley, Alabama.
Oh, cool.
And then on Thursday, Keeping It Clear with Cody Bowen, 6:30. And then we'll have news roundup. Friday we have weather, and then my show again. And I'm hoping to get EOU athletic director Angie Weisenflew, and then hopefully player of the week from the women's basketball team. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know exactly what's going to happen with that, and I don't know how I'm going to do the interview from Foley yet. It'll probably be just like normal, and it'll be pre-recorded, but then put into my show. So
cool. And
did I miss something?
No. A week from this Friday is the concert on the roof of Marketplace Fresh Foods with
That's right.
With Tade McCandy and her band, and there's going to be a wine tasting that day. That's going to be a cool event.
Yeah.
We're going to start promoting that. You'll start seeing that stuff on social media and so on and so forth. But yeah, so be sure and hold out that day. That's the 8th of May, Saturday, the 8th of May in the evening. So,
absolutely.
Alrighty.
Quick thing too for everybody. Diet update. I weigh tomorrow. More than 20 pounds down. Metrum's just killing it for me, and it's working. I mean, I looked in the mirror this morning and my belly's just shrinking. I could tell, man. It's been a month, so wow. I mean, I can tell that it's starting to show a little bit, and people have said that my face is looking a little thinner, but I kind of like my little chubby face. So I'd rather lose it from here and just keep my chubby little dimples. Chicks dig the dimples, BC, the chubby dimples.
Yeah, but the dimples will show up more the way you.
they're there plenty. Trust me.
Yeah. All righty. Well, thank you, Eastern Oregon.
Till Thursday. We appreciate you.
See you soon.